Brothers of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Being broadcast live tonight, of course, on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, and also in on YouTube World. Hello, YouTube. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, the like, subscribe, the bell, all that jazz. Oops, I meant digits, Nessie, not gigits. If you want to, get the alert that I'm going live on YouTube, you might want to click on the bell too. Just saying. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. No matter how you are listening to me, make sure you stop in and say hello in one of the chat rooms. Just hi. Or you can send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com, and that's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. Or if you want to support the show, you can do so by heading over to Etsy, and that's etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio, that's MTN. Or you can go to patreon.com/TheSpacesBetween. Or if you want to just support my radio habit, you can go to my cash tag, and there's just the $, TheSpacesBetween. The call line is open tonight, and that number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, that is 44203-393-2871. Also, if you have a free moment, check out iLife.com. iLife is the official sponsor for Truth Frequency Radio. The good stuff from the ayahuasca, along with the CBD, combined together to support your immune health and all that stuff that we all need right now. And yes, holy cow, the chat room is busy. Hi, guys. I'm not going to go through the list because, there's bunches of you. So, hope y'all are having just a fantabulous Saturday night, Sunday morning. And if it's cold where you are, I'm sorry. If it's warm where you are, I'm envious. Because, it is. Just out of curiosity. I kind of want to know what the weather is going to be for sure. Everybody keeps saying single digits, and that's Fahrenheit, which, okay, sure, if it's got to be, I guess it has to be. I know we have a couple storms yet for the season, sadly. I am ready for spring, as I mentioned last night. I want the garden. I want to be outside playing in the dirt. I guess it's not going to be too horribly cold. Make it sound about 10 degrees on Thursday the 11th. Ew. That's cold enough. Thank you very much. But it'll be warming up by the 20th, 21st. More rain and snow in the forecast. For those of you who are here in North Idaho, it is coming up. Hectic Eclectics is going to be doing a coffee get-together. For those of you who don't know, Idaho is constantly rebelling against the rest of the country, to the point where actually I think our governor is about ready to lift the whole COVID stuff and say, you know what, nope, we're done. Moving on. Which I'm absolutely fine with that. As a result, we want to get together and see each other face to face again. So we're going to get together on the 21st at 2 o'clock at Cedar Street Bridge in Sandpoint. If you have any questions, shoot me the email at wildpaisley@gmail.com or hit me up on Facebook under Hectic Eclectic. And it's fun. It's good. Mostly, and it's the reason why for the eclectic part is we're just a hodgepodge of miscellaneous folks that follow the pagan path rather than Christianity. And we just want some fellowship, and socialize. Holy cow, it's been frustrating for those of us that are happy meeting one another face to face, and having coffee or tea or whatever. Um, it's it's time. So there's coffee or ice cream or tea or whatever it is you want to buy, because it's just a really really nice little bistro right there. So yeah, come join us if you're in the area. You need to let me know so I know how many seats to reserve. Justin says that he loves my state government. Yeah, Justin, that's why you live in Oregon, right? Y'all are going nuts there. Whoo boy. Yeah. Try not to talk politics. Religion's bad enough, right? Anyways, I got to thinking, and it's been a while since I talked about my own specific path just a bit. And it's evolved a little bit over the years, especially more in the last year as I've done more reading with intention. I talk about intention all the time, right? You set your intention, set your focus, and what is it that you're trying to accomplish? So you know what it is, and you're being mindful. And originally I considered myself pretty eclectic, and I still am. But I feel it's more intuitive rather than eclectic, because yes, I am pulling stuff from all over the place, but it's more, what do I feel is necessary for my own personal path as far as witchcraft or paganism. So let's see. So I personally am a pagan, and I follow Hecate, and I'm called by Kununos, and that means that those are the two primary deities that I work with, as far as petitions or offerings, that kind of thing. In many ways, I'm very, very different from, say, Wicca. Wicca is a religion that is generally considered the religion of witches, and you can be Wiccan and a witch, or you can be a witch without being a Wiccan. You don't have to be part of the Wicca path if you are going to be a witch. Really, you don't. Just like not all Christians are Catholics. Seriously, guys. So just, yeah. I honor the deities that I work with. I don't worship them, just because I don't feel that they need me to worship them. I mean, I don't feel compelled or called to do that. Honor. Definitely honor and respect. Yes, very much respect. There are times when I work with other deities, and again, honor, respect, same kind of thing. My own ancestors, they're on my list of those that I honor. In reality, I generally approach my ancestors first before I approach the deities, mostly because who has the greatest vested interest in my success or failure, whatever it is. And so my ancestors are a big part of my practice. If the deity is hungry, yes, by all means, give them an offering. Depending on what it is they're hungry for. Honey is a good one. Honey's almost a universally accepted offering for the deity. Same with meats, cheeses. If it's a handcrafted anything, that's also a really good offering. So with the whole paganism, pagan is just basically not Christian. So yes, I am pagan. Intuitive, which mean I pull intuitively from different traditions. Hecate and Kununos both show up in the Celtic mythology. Hecate also shows up in the Greek mythology, pre-Titan. And they're both older deities. And I've been working with Hecate for pretty much most of my life. She's definitely the mother figure for me, rather than the stern individual that most people who are not familiar with Hecate seem to think she is. She's not that scary, really, truly. Just like parents are sometimes hard on you, sometimes deity has to be hard on you. If it wasn't for both Kununos and Hecate growing up, wow, I would have gotten into a lot more mischief. And I would have been in a lot more physical danger. I was a wild child, wild as in not tamed, not as in, getting into trouble and stuff. I lived out in the country and I had a horse and not a lot of responsibilities. So I would ride my horse all over the mountains. And it's crazy because in retrospect and looking back, where I lived was low population, high animal counts, so there were a lot of deer, elk, that kind of thing. And in 5 years of running around the mountains on horseback, I heard coyotes, I heard wolves, but I did not ever see a single predator in 5 years. If you stop and think about that, if you're outside every day doing chores or riding or going horseback riding or doing things, I never once came across a predator or was in a dangerous situation. So yeah, if anybody asks if I really believe in the deities and what they did to keep me out of trouble, oh yes, I do. Yeah, they were there for me, and so 100% firm believer. Also, my own ancestors were there for me. Pretty sure my spirit guides were face palming for a lot of that. Because they're like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're going, no, don't. I mean, I wild foraged all over the mountains, and I got to the point where, yeah, I knew what was good to eat and what wasn't good to eat. And yeah, it was a good experience growing up off the grid and all that. I'm not that old, but yet I'm old enough to have experienced life without TV or electricity or hot water. Yeah. I just because I know how to do all those things doesn't mean I want to do them still, by the way. So anyways, yeah, the whole path that I'm on is one of my own devising, my own making. And that's part of the reason why I started doing the show here, is because I wanted to share my experiences with other people. And it's really hard to find like-minded people in a conservative area. And I've been doing the show here for about 2 years now. It'll be 2 years officially, I think, in 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that, which is crazy to me. Been doing it that long. Oof. And because even 2 years ago, witchcraft wasn't as widely accepted, or paganism wasn't as widely accepted. I wanted some way to connect with people, and this is a really good way to connect with like-minded people, because here I am talking to people all over the world. In the chat room, I've got folks from all over the US, from Canada, Australia, Africa. I've seen people in there from Germany, from Norway, South America, yeah, all over the place. And I think it's awesome that we can come together in a platform like this, share some ideas. You guys ask some questions. I try my very, very best to answer. And if I don't have the answer, I know how to find them. And yeah, it's been a fun adventure so far. And by golly, I'm not going to stop now. So as hold on. Lucky says, the kind of paganism we have is not widely accepted. We are about solutions, not the Hollywood versions of it. Yes, very true, Lucky. Yes, I have seen chat rooms where people have straight up asked for spells to straighten their hair. And it's like, sorry, Hermione, that's not real. Hey, Linda. And it's it makes me giggle when people are all about, hey, I need a spell for this or a spell for that. And can you do spell work for that type of thing? Yeah, sure. But it's a question of your own personal energy. I mean, sure, you can spend the time and the energy creating a spell to do that kind of thing. or you can just plug in your curling iron and straighten your hair, or your flat iron and straighten your hair. So, I mean, pay attention to your resources, your time, your energy. Sure, you can craft a spell, absolutely. Or you can spend 5 minutes just straightening your hair and move on with life. Or your makeup, or, whatever it is you need to do. So Mary asks, or says, I was informed spells can be turned against you if the deity sees it's wrong, but that depends upon the deity. Yes, some deities are a little more fickle than others, and that's why I tell everybody to do research, use your journal, and you do need to pay attention to which deity you're working with. For instance, you don't ask a sun god for rain. They're not necessarily turning against you. It's just you want to make sure you're approaching the right deity for the right reason. So you need just make sure you're approaching the right deity for the right reason. Because if the deity doesn't want to participate in that particular spell because they are not related at all, they're not going to. It may backfire completely, or just the wasted energy. So pay attention to where you're putting your energy, and which deity you're approaching. And some deities really are more fickle, especially in some of the other traditions. Not necessarily fickle, maybe that's not the right word. Stringent or strict, if you will. But then if you have a good working relationship with the deity, they're not as... Some are more forgiving, some are not. It really depends, I guess, on the deity. Justin, I generally don't hex people because I'm a firm believer in what you put out there is what you're going to get. And I suppose you can always send me an email and we can talk about it, Justin. Yeah. Journaling, yeah. I have to tell you, journaling is really hard because I know that if I forget or run out of time and just don't get it done a couple days in a row, it's really hard to get back on the journaling bandwagon. And it's frustrating because it's like, there's all these things that I wanted to talk about and I totally forgot. For instance, last night, talking about gardening and green witchery type stuff, I'd been thinking about it all week and I knew what I was going to say. And then yesterday morning I woke up and was like, oh shoot, what was I going to talk about again tonight? It took me all day to remember. So, journaling is good. And don't be afraid to write things down. I have calendars all over the place so that I can write them down, and I put them in my phone. Yeah. Yeah. So, on that note, tonight I wanted to talk about energy because often I say the energy is changing or the energy is shifting, and quite a few of us have experienced it. We're seeing it. We know other people who are experiencing it or dealing with it. And if you question an energy shift at all, just look at the news today compared to 8 years ago, 10 years ago, a year ago. It's like the anxiety and stress and insanity is speeding up and becoming more intense. And that happens when we are transitioning through an age, and I've mentioned that before. The age of Aquarius is apparently upon us, although that's open to interpretation too. And sounds good, Justin. And, an age often is not a smooth transition. I mean, look back through our own history, the history of the U.S. The big significant changes in our society were often fraught with violence and anger and hate and disgruntlement and all this stuff. And once we got past it, we had to heal some, and we were able to move on. And we were stronger for it and better for it. Same with the rest of the world. Anytime a culture or a society has shifted or changed, there's been some sort of upheaval. And so transitions, such as from one age to the next, isn't always a smooth thing. It's not like biting into York peppermint patty. It's not a smooth, cool transition. It's more like jumping from rock to rock in a, playing the hot lava game. Your floor's hot lava and you're going to trip and fall, but really it is hot lava. You just thought it wasn't. Yeah. So, the energy is shifting. And you're not imagining things. You really, truly aren't. And it may feel like you're losing your mind, honestly, as you're looking around and seeing things. There's been quite the awakening in the last couple months. I mentioned it the other day, or a couple weeks back, how when Groot, my oak tree, sprouted, that to me is really kind of the exclamation point, if you will, for when the transition really started picking up speed, because that was kind of a marker for me. And since then, things have been changing, and even in the last 6 months, things have been changing again and getting more and more, energetic and a little bit insane and crazy. So, yeah, if you're feeling some of those things, it's normal. If you're feeling extra stress or intense energy, or just stress and I said stress and anxiety and frustration, a lot of the time that means some of the things, our old habits, or some of the baggage that we had from growing up or being an adult in the last 40 years for me, or whatever it is, you have to work through that baggage and that stuff in order to move on. So you may be feeling tumultuous, you may have a lot of anxiety going on, and that again is pretty normal, since there's so much going on inside of you and is being pushed to the surface. Acknowledge it, work through it, journal it if you need to, talk to a therapist if you need to, do some shadow work if you need to, whatever it is that you need to do, to just take that deep cleansing breath and do what you need to do to move on. Because you're going through all that stuff, you may be feeling a bit disoriented, out of place, maybe. They're saying, in a way, they're saying we're moving from a 3D or 3.5D to a 4D. So it all depends on which expert you're talking to. Because, there's a few experts out there. Deb says, declutter your life and spirit. Yeah. I've been doing it at home. You can't tell right now. Here in the studio, went through a bit of a remodel and change around. It's amazing how when you sit down and really plan out how you want to do stuff and sort it out, it's feeling better. So real quick, Titan asks a question. I'm going to say the question, and then I will probably answer it after the break, because it's a little bit more than what we have time for, because we're about 2 minutes before break. So, Titan's question. Paisley, does paganism guide you in coping with the loss of loved ones? Pets really are our children, or help shield you when you mourn, knowing that you can be susceptible to low frequencies for a time? All right, so short answer, yes, paganism has helped me a lot. A lot. A lot. In part, or mostly, I should say, because I believe that this is not the only life that we live. I believe in reincarnation, and death is the doorway that we step through. So from this life to the next. And so when a loved one passes, regardless of whom it is, we'll see them again, just in the next life. And And I know, like, for instance, our pets, I lost two pets in last year. Um, yeah, that was hard. Um, we'd had Basil for pretty much his entire life, 15 years, 16 years, something like that. And Diego we'd had for 7 years, and they're the same age, and they're both old men, grouchy old farts that they were. But they were an integral part of our family, and Mini Me loved both of them. And I have to say that being pagan and being able to explain death in a pagan fashion, with the whole "this is just a doorway to the next life," really eased that transition for her. I mean, in a really big way. And she still misses them because, yeah, it's normal to miss those that we've lost. And there's nothing wrong with missing those that have passed before us because they're not here. We miss those that we're just, they're not around. So, anyways, we're off to break. I'll pick this back up on the flip side, and we'll see you in just a few.
I, O Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be the spell forever dead.
Mute. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. And we're being broadcast live tonight on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, TalkStream Live, and YouTube. Just reminding y'all, call line is open if you want to call, or not. It's up to you. And we're talking about the energy and stuff, and Titan had asked a question just before break, and the question, just to remind y'all, gotta find it. Titan asked, does paganism guide you in coping with the loss of loved ones? Pets really are our children, or help shield you when you mourn, knowing that you can be susceptible to low frequencies for a time. Yeah, by golly, you can be susceptible to those low frequencies because, loss is devastating. It doesn't matter what it is. A loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of a home, even loss of your sense of self, sense of safety, and any of that. And it is 100% okay to mourn loss of any kind. And if it's loss of a loved one, by golly, feel it. Don't shove that down. Don't ignore it. It's okay to miss someone that is no longer there. And so with that being said, I'm a firm believer that death is the transition from this life to the next, unless you're done. And I get it. Sometimes we are done. So if you are, then yay, you're done. You don't have to come back. You don't have to do this again. And you'll just be waiting in the afterlife for the rest of us. So with that being said, the knowing that transition is going to happen and is normal, it releases some of that anxiety, some of that stress. Since I don't believe in the Christian version of the afterlife and going to hell if you don't have your ducks lined up or aren't part of the 144,000 or whatever your dogma is, I don't have that same anxiety or that same fear of what might happen after I'm dead or my loved ones. Even those who are Christian, okay, so they're going to go to their own afterlife. That's their gig. But I'm going to be doing my own thing. And because of that, a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the fear of death just isn't there. Is it going to suck? Yeah, I'm going to miss the peeps that I have here. Or if my loved ones leave first, yeah, I'm going to miss them too. And that's normal. And as I mentioned just before break, with Mini-Me and losing our dogs this year, to just old age, really, being able to explain that to her in a way like, yeah, you'll see them again. Yes, they crossed the Rainbow Bridge. Yes, it's okay to miss them, and allowing her that grieving process and being okay with grief. I want it to be as normal as possible. I don't want her to feel like she has to shove it down or ignore it or make it less. So, there. Now, when it comes to the energy shift, as I was talking before Titan asked a question, often we're going to feel different things or see different things or even hear different things as we go through the energy transition that the world is going through. You may be experiencing different dimensions because they are there. That will depend a bit upon how sensitive you are, because not everybody is sensitive. Just like not everybody can see the color blue. Not everybody can enjoy the flavor of cilantro. It's very normal. So if you're not as sensitive, that's okay. If you are more sensitive, you need to make sure that you are protecting yourself from whatever it is that you are dealing with. Unusual aches and pains. Often that means that your energy that you are experiencing isn't necessarily connected with the energy of the world around you, which can be frustrating as all get out. It's just another one of those things to deal with. Journal about it, meditate on it, and let it go. Don't dwell on it. If you wake up in the middle of the night, especially between 2 and 4, it means you might have a lot going on in your noggin and your brain needs a break. Between 2 and 4 is often considered the releasing hour, meaning you're letting stuff go during that time and your subconscious is basically pulling the plug and getting rid of some stuff. In theory. For some of us, we're just dwelling on things or stuck in a cycle. Because we are letting go of a lot of that baggage and that stuff, you may feel a little bit of a loss of identity, a loss of that baggage or the stuff that made you initially. The you that you're going to be is going to be better. So don't let it bring you down. You may not understand quite why it's happening or what's going on, but it's okay. You're going to be better at the end of it. You maybe just you don't feel like doing anything, which I get. It's because you're just need to take a break, and your emotional state, your mental state, and even your physical state may just need a break and a nap. And as an adult, naps are very okay. They're highly appreciated. And yes, you just need it. Something else that you're going to notice is that some of the people that were around you before aren't going to be around you now. You're going to find that your personalities don't match up anymore, your habits don't match up anymore. And it's not so much that you're not friends anymore, it's just you're growing apart. And it's because you guys are not in the same place anymore. You're not walking the same path anymore. You're doing your own thing and they're doing their own thing, and you may come back and connect with them later after they've gone through their own transition. But until then, it's okay to feel like you've lost a few friends. It's just because you guys are just in different points in your life. You may have some anxiety. You may feel a little bit of a panic, and it's because your ego defenses is changing, and so a lot of your ego is being lost, and your system might be a little bit overloaded with just the stuff. And as you're going through that energetic change, you may feel a little vulnerable, you may feel a little bit powerless. Just breathe through it, journal it, meditate, do the things that I'd say you should do all the time. And don't try to hang on to the bad habits that you had before with your fingernails. Let it go. Channel your inner Elsa. Otherwise, it's going to drive you to depression, and nobody wants that. Because you might be a little bit out of sync with the rest of the world. That's okay. When you are back in sync, everything will just kind of snap into place, and hang in there. It's okay. You may have night sweats, hot flashes. That's just your body heating up as it burns off residue of that negativity or the excess stuff that you don't need anymore. You may have some crazy ass dreams, by the way. And if you do have some crazy ass dreams, that's okay. Write them down, because you may want to go back and see if your interpretation of those dreams changes as you go through the transitory period of your energies changing.
Our friend Gemini Moon, she says, I really feel like, excuse me, I really feel like dreaming helps us to figure out or work out the different timelines in our energy fields to become more balanced or more into balance. So, you know,
Yeah, I think that's real. Because a lot of times our subconscious needs to disengage a bit, or our conscious needs to disengage a bit, so our subconscious can take control, drive the car for a little bit, and line things up and kind of jostle everything into place. Yes, and by the way, Don's joined us, putting in his own 3 cents.
but I'm also eating a burger, so I'm not going to make you guys listen to me eat.
Yes. So what else? Besides that stuff, what else might you experience? Well, you might have some headaches as your crown chakra starts to open up and you're experiencing that energy flow through that chakra. Yeah, you might be getting some headaches. You may be getting downloads of information, which, that energy, or the it may not be a download of message. It may be just feeling or energy, and it'll just stimulate you a lot, and it'll give you a headache because you can only handle so much energy at a time. I mean, think about it. If you're sitting out in the sun for too long, you don't stop and take a break, you're not going to feel very good. You're going to feel a little sickly. You're going to feel a little dehydrated. You're going to get a headache, and you're going to need to go lay down, take a nap, and drink some water. Take care of yourself. That's the biggest thing. Let's make sure you're eating correctly, drinking enough water as you're going through the transitory period. Because, yes, just like Marie says, the headaches are real. Yeah. It may help to talk to your spirit guides and say, hey, can we take a break for a little bit? Can Ollie oxen free, time out? I need a nap without the download and the crazy ass dreams. So yeah, sometimes that feeling is extraordinarily overwhelming. So much so that you may have heart palpitations, you may have breathing problems, which, okay, it's not bad enough you have a headache. Now let's have some heart palpitations, some breathing problems, and you're just completely 100% overwhelmed. So, now, there are instances where you do need to talk to your nearest medical facility because heart palpitations and breathing problems are really not good for you physically. And if you do go to the doctor and they say, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just having a panic attack, well, you need to find a different way to cope because you don't need to have that kind of a panic attack. So, do your breathing with intention. And just feel the energy run through you. More grounding work might be good for you, just because sometimes we have just too much energy and we need to let it go. I have literally walked out and hugged an oak tree or an elderberry tree because I need to let that energy go somewhere other than me. And yeah, it's frustrating. Along with the hot flashes and the heat sweats, do you ever just walk by and you start blowing light bulbs or messing with the other electronics? It's vexing. Very, very vexing. I don't blow light bulbs, but I will occasionally scramble a computer. It's not just a hormonal thing. It's just that energy rate is changing. My dad, for instance, crazy thing. He can't wear a watch unless it is protected by silver. It's got to have a silver backing to it. It's got to have a silver band. It's got to have real crystal. It's got to be, unfortunately, a highly expensive watch. Something that I'm not going to buy him because he's a farmer and is not gentle on things ever. And so yeah, it's frustrating because he can't really use a computer. He wants to use a computer. He has a Facebook page. My dad texts me every so often, which generally it's just pictures of his pigs, which does make...
This one's Wilbur. That's Skinny Pete.
Okay, Skinny Pete, by the way, is about 1,300 pounds. And yes, pounds. 1,300 pounds. He's over half a ton. And he's about 8 feet long and about 4 feet tall at the shoulder.
He takes up a 2-family freezer by himself.
Yeah, pretty much. My dad thought he was went to go get a couch just for Skinny Pete. It was just this old beat up couch. He was going to take the legs off so the pig could just sleep on the couch. But he didn't fit.
Well, you got to custom make anything more than an 8-foot couch.
It's a big pig. So, yeah, yes, big pig. We should have called him Wilbur. That's some pig. But as our energy changes, remember, because we are so full of water, we are good energy conductors. It's not going to last forever. Your weight may fluctuate. You may note an increase in your weight.
Especially after eating those 2 burgers.
Oh, you mean the Buddha belly?
Oh, I shouldn't have eaten them.
You didn't have to eat 2.
Yes, I did.
No, whatever. Anyways, talking about weight gain, not Don eating too many burgers. Let's start calling you Hamburglar. As the energy is transitioning through you, you may have a buildup of the old energy before you get it completely.
Anxiety.
Before you completely release it, so you'll have the old energy and the new energy, and this is where your grounding is going to help you let that energy out. Lucky goes, I'm just trying to imagine buying a couch for a pig. So he didn't buy the couch. It was one of those to give away things on Facebook or Craigslist or something.
Yeah, it's still a couch for a pig. What is this pig gonna do?
He's very photogenic. He just sits there. Good night, Deb. But yeah, he's some pig. He's a big pig. I should get pictures of him, or find my pictures. Every so often, yeah, he sends me pictures. Yeah. Let's see. That would be a lot of bacon. 8.
Exactly my point. That's the point.
Well, so you kind of have to have a special rig to. Well, no, I suppose if you could butcher a cow, you could butcher the pig because that's about the size of the pig. It's a big pig. So there's something called ascension flu. It's flu-like symptoms. So you're one more reason to feel like you have the flu, right? You may have a flu-like symptoms during an energetic shift, because our bodies have a physical reaction when we release toxins. That's part of the reason why we're drinking the water, to flush the toxins out. And we have to release the toxins for our chakras to open up. And so whatever congestion that you might have that is blocking your chakras is getting detoxed, it'll happen, but you'll have some of those aches and the icky feelings, sore throat maybe. You have loss of appetite. Food might not taste quite the same.
Starting to sound like coof.
I know. It's basically COVID is the ascension flu.
Don't say that.
Well, you never know. Or there's probably some people assuming that it's the COVID, but nope, it's actually just ascension flu.
Quit saying
that. It's just crazy. But generally speaking, if you're feeling just a little flu-like, regardless of what it is, try not to go to the doctor for the antibiotics. It's just something to work through. It may be a virus, and you just got to work through it anyways.
Why rob your body of its natural ability to take care of what it's supposed to do?
Exactly. your natural immune system. So yeah, you may want to make sure you got your electrolytes on point, which I hate to say it, but pickle juice actually has a lot of the right electrolytes for you. Yeah, so that doesn't mean sit there and drink it by the gallon, blah, but a little bit goes a long way. The natural detoxing is really, really good for you. Let's see. You may have some nausea during the transition. You may wonder why. Well, it could be that, just you're sick, or it could be that you're going through that energetic shift and your body is just like, dude, you shouldn't have eaten that because you're not, stop doing that. Lay off the sugar. Sugar's bad for you. Switch to something a little different. So yeah, you may feel a little nauseated or, upset tummy, dry heaving. Just be careful as you're detoxing because, it does happen. Again, that's why we're drinking plenty of water. Muscle aches, joint pains. Yeah. Think about it. If you are having your energetic vibrations are changing, you're going to feel it in your joints. Just like if you've ever been to the dentist and had the water vibration type tooth cleansing, it's a trip. It feels very bizarre. Feels kind of good actually, but a little bizarre. But you feel it in your jaws, you feel it in your neck, you feel the whole vibration. And yeah, it's going to make your joints ache just a bit. You'll be better afterwards. You just gotta work through it. You may feel extraordinarily vulnerable. I know I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to mention it again because if you're feeling emotionally vulnerable right now, it's normal. You may start crying for no reason, that panic attack. You may just be ragey. I know that there's been a few times when, I wake up and I'm like, you know what? I'm just mad at everything today. And I need to go back to bed for a short nap so I can reset and get up and be in a little bit better mood. Because it happens. If you feel like that, again, it's normal. It's frustrating, but it's normal. Try to find the happy in the process anyways. Because, yeah, as you're letting the stuff out, think of it this way. You're letting the mud out of the tank so you can fill it up with good, clean water. You just flush it out. You may need to cry. You may need to yell. You may need to just take up kickboxing so you can beat something up. It's okay. Just release the blockages so you can move on and do the things. And because you're overworking yourself, yeah, you're going to feel tired. You're going to have some exhaustion. You may feel like you slept all night. Why am I so bloody tired the next day? Well, the energy is causing just that shift throughout your entire spiritual body and is affecting your physical body. It can take days, weeks, months, years. Hopefully it doesn't take years, because if that's the case, I'm going to have a temper tantrum a lot because I am so tired of being tired. It's ridiculous. Again, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. If you are drinking the coffee, make sure you're still drinking the water, because water will help cleanse your cells and help everything move more quickly. Does Dawn have any of these?
Any of what?
Any of these symptoms?
Yeah, I experience anxiety all the time.
Tiredness?
Tiredness, definitely. I sleep best between 4 and 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
But I never get to sleep that long, so it doesn't really matter. I get up for work or whatever. So you just, some people, Gemini says I'm sleeping more than my cat. The cat comes to check on her. That must be nice. Mary says she's taken 2 naps a week every day this week, which would be sweet. Lucky got a 2-hour nap. Woohoo!
Hey, I
So,
wanted a nap.
all of these, issues are things that people have been experiencing just because they're human.
Hmm.
Um, but you stress, that'll rob you of everything you need. Um, so yeah, I
Yep.
mean, yeah, of course I have, and I am experiencing these things. So
Yep. 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 So we're gonna pick this up after the break because it is top of the hour already. So when we come back, we'll do the singing bowl, and then we'll talk about energy shifts and how to deal with it and symptoms and all that. And if you do have a question and you call in and I don't answer it away, drop me a message in the chat room. So be right back. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. And so, yeah, now we're going to do the singing bowl because, I think we need all that stuff. So, one moment. Woody woot. Loving the singing bowl. So yeah, tonight we're talking about energy, the transitions of the energy transition, some of the things you might be feeling, experiencing, and so most of it, I want y'all to come away from tonight's show knowing that the stuff that you're dealing with doesn't mean you're crazy, losing your mind, or anything like that. You're actually the new normal, if you will. Because I think as we go through this, those of us that are going through the energy shift first, it'll be old hat by everybody else catches up. And it'll take a little bit for everybody else to catch up because some people are just thick-headed and aren't paying attention. Yeah. Let's see. Next on my list here is you may feel a little spacey or have some memory loss.
I was accused of having CRS tonight.
CRS? Oh. Can't remember stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, so Titan says, breathing like I talked about before, 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out, should promote energy as well as harmony. Yeah, absolutely. It's breathing with intention. Not just, reflexive breathing is what we do all the time. Often we're not inhaling deep enough, we're not exhaling deep enough, so we're not getting enough new air in or bad air out. And, just making sure we're clearing the lungs and getting the fresh air in is huge. So I know that when I get out of work or off work, doesn't matter where I work, the first step outside, if I take a deep cleansing breath, wow, does it just revitalize me enough to get home before I fall asleep? Because, yeah. Sometimes by the end of the day, I am really, really done. So yeah, breathing with intent is really, really good for you. And sometimes if you do that deep cleansing breath, it makes everybody think you're just preparing yourself for that big statement as your memory is trying to kick in and remember what it was you were trying to say beforehand. I've had a couple of times where I'm talking and literally mid-sentence, I will have to stop and it's like, you know what? I have no idea what I was just talking about. Can I get a cue card? Because, yeah, the brain just kind of shuts down and, yeah, it's frustrating. And I know that I am occasionally extraordinarily spacey, sometimes only a little bit. I know my memory loss is kind of there. It's frustrating. So, yes. Titan says, how do we get Karen to do it? With a deep cleansing breath, drop a spider on Karen's head. Karen, there's a spider! She'll
Karen,
scream.
here's a piece of chocolate as you unwrap the X-Locks. Here, loosen up a bit.
Not that kind of cleanse.
Oh, right.
Yes. Deep cleansing breath. It's okay. As that energy is changing, it's okay. You may feel a little spacey. It will pass. Your memory will start to work a little bit better. It'll be okay. If you need to, take notes. Babies and animals might react to you differently. So if you go into a grocery store or public space or restaurant or something, do babies watch you and start smiling? Or if you're outside and around animals, are they drawn to you? That's not necessarily a surprise. Often that is because you are operating at a different vibration or a different energetic level, and they're drawn to you. I know that I have always preferred hanging out with the family dog than going to a party. If I'm in a crowd of people and there's a dog, odds are pretty good I'm talking to the dog rather than the people. Just because
he cares about Bigfoot.
The dog cares. It's like, oh, you brought cheese? It's been interesting because I would rather hang out with the animals anyways, or make smiley faces at the babies. So I'm okay with it. But it's okay. Just hang out with the kids and relax. Yeah. And enjoy the babies smiling. Babies' laughter. I don't know what could be more infectious than babies laughing.
Apparently the coof.
Well, exactly. Other than the coof, you just listen to a baby laughing. It's just the best sound ever. Are you seeing angel numbers or synchronicities? Angel numbers are like the 333, 777, 1111, that kind of thing. You may be seeing them everywhere. Maybe signs, your clock, your phone, TV, license plates, any of that. If you're seeing those numbers, keep in mind where you're seeing them. The time of day. What were you thinking about when you saw the number? What were you talking about if you're talking to someone? Put it in your journal and look up the number. It's those numbers are real. Often they are just the little signposts that you might need to connect with the message a little bit more strongly. Because often, we forget that the messages are coming to us. And it's sometimes, it's frustrating dealing with all the energy stuff, because it's overwhelming and it can be maddening, and you may be seeing things you weren't seeing before. I mean, stop and think about it. If you are an adult and you don't believe in the paranormal at all, and then you go through an energetic shift and suddenly you're operating at a different plane of awareness, and you can suddenly see ghosts. Just real basic. Okay, you've never seen ghosts before, but now you see ghosts. How do you respond? Do you assume that you are losing your ever-loving mind? Or do you assume that, no, this is normal, and hey, ghosts are real, and I should just roll with it? If you have never done this before, or if you're, for instance, say you're Christian, you rep Christian, and you're uber conservative Christian, and suddenly you're seeing ghosts, and you tell your priest or your pastor that, hey, I think I'm seeing ghosts, and what do I do? Well, be prepared. You might face an exorcism, because that's not normal. The church often doesn't believe that the average person can experience ghosts like that. Which I think is ridiculous because, yes, the average layperson can experience ghosts. And it's often a little bit disconcerting to have your priest or pastor look at you like you're crazy because you just saw the ghosts. Or because you're, hey, maybe you're the spawn of Satan suddenly because you saw the ghost. Honestly, for me, it's one of the frustrating things about Christianity in general is they just don't accept people outside of their definition of normal as being okay. So, yes, if you're seeing the ghost suddenly, it's okay. It really is. Just carry a little extra tourmaline in your pocket for some protection. Titan asks, have y'all ever wrote things down y'all wanted rid of and burnt them? He did that, or Titan did that with Mama Ocean, and it worked. But have to be resolved. They want to come back. So, yes, I have written down things and burnt them, and to release them. Because, yes, Sometimes you just the physical act of getting rid of something helps the emotional and mental space to release that same thing, whatever it is. The reason why they want to come back is those old thought patterns, those old behavior patterns are comfortable. It's like the old raggy jeans that you like to wear everywhere that you shouldn't be wearing because they're so threadbare that they're not decent anymore. And things are hanging out that shouldn't be hanging out. But you want to wear them around home, and then suddenly, you have company. You're like, oh, darn, I got to go change. It's you're stuck. That groove, that rut is there, and it's easy to stay in there. But yeah, once you let it go, and if you find yourself falling back into that same thought pattern or that same behavior pattern, you have to stop yourself. Say, no, I let this go. I'm done with this. I'm done, and I'm not going back. And you move on. And yeah, it's a process, and in some ways, it's instead of a straight path, it's a little bit more like doing the cha-cha, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Yeah. See, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yes, things are changing fast. Sometimes the things that we need to release are not behaviors or thought patterns, it's people. For the longest time, I really felt like I attracted the crazies all the time. And Don's known me long enough to meet some of these crazies. And it really felt like I had to, the broken people were just drawn to me all the time. And I don't mind helping people find a better path or be on the path towards being fixed, if you will, or finding those different behavioral patterns so they're not as broken anymore. But after a while, the bat poo crazy gets exhausting, and you just want to hang out with someone who doesn't have a lot of baggage. And I had to basically release that part of me to stop attracting it. Because, yeah, it seemed like every time I turned around, there was someone who was just so wrapped up in their own personal drama, and they were just bat poop crazy. I couldn't have a normal friend. One of my closest friends now, if I go over to her place or she comes over here, we might sit on the couch and do nothing but read a book and share, pictures off of Facebook or something. And we could spend 2 or 3 hours doing that and drinking wine at the same time. And it's a relaxing afternoon. And it's great because we're just focused on hanging out and spending time together without, high expectations, because she's introverted. I tend to be occasionally introverted, and sometimes it's just fun to hang out with an introvert and chill because there's no expectations of participation. Mini-me is an extrovert, and there are times, and bless her little pea-picking heart, she's exhausting. She makes me want to take a nap because she just is a go, 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 go all the time, and it's really hard to keep up. And someone who doesn't need a nap, because she's always full of energy, she really does need a nap, though. I wish she would just chill out a little bit once in a while and let me take a nap and catch up, or share the energy, because yeah, she's always go. Let's see. I had a couple other things. So, as we're approaching an energy shift or going through an energy shift, if you feel like you're experiencing more headaches, or you're experiencing more nausea or more physical effects of an energy transition. And it's really starting to drag you down. Ask yourself, are you holding yourself back? Do you have baggage that's keeping you from moving forward and letting this transition go smoother? Not necessarily smoothly, just smoother. Or are you hanging on tight to some of those old behavior patterns or thought patterns that just aren't letting you go? You may need to sit down and write some of them out. It's like, hey, have I changed this about me? Am I doing this differently? Have I let that go? And if you don't drop those burdens, if you will, that are holding you back or preventing you from moving forward, it's going to make that transition longer and harder and more frustrating, because it'll feel like it just never bloody ends. And it'll get there. It'll take longer. So Tammy in the chat room, Tammy's new. Hi, Tammy. Once the energy shift has completed, will things go back to normal, or will you continue on the path of changes? So there will probably still be some changes. However, they won't be quite as dramatic or traumatic. And your normal will be different. It won't be go back the way it was. It'll be the new normal, if you will. And that's part of the reason why in the past I've talked about making sure you've got your protective stones around you, because there is energetic frequencies within your stones that'll help you. Make sure you're cleansing yourself. Sometimes that cleansing of self is as simple as washing your hands, and making sure you're letting go of the, whatever's dragging you down or holding you back. You wash your hands or set your intentions like, hey, I'm going to take this shower and I'm going to get rid of some excess baggage. And you take the shower and just let it all flow down the drain. It seems really simple, but sometimes the simple stuff really does the biggest work for us. And then, kind of crazy, but seriously, wash your hands, take the shower, and let that stuff go. The new normal, I think for many of us, we will see more, we'll experience more. It's like the colors will be more vibrant, if you will. The sounds will be clearer, and the tastes will be stronger or more flavorful, if you will. And it's, will just be a stronger interaction within the world around us. All right, I'm just reading what Titan's saying. Titan says, it's like Dawn says about going out on ghost investigations. Ask your deity to shield you against attachments. You may have to do that just to go to the store these days. Yeah. So if you have a face mask and you're worried about shielding yourself, don't be afraid to grab the Sharpie marker and draw a protection rune on your face mask.
Yeah.
It may be, a scary face, or it may be a smiley face, but sometimes you just do have to, make that obvious thing to help you protect yourself. For those of you who are wondering what an energy shift is, I do have kind of a definition here. It's from the lawofattraction.com. Law of Attraction is a really interesting book, by the way, but it talks about energetic shifts and dream boards and all that. But an energetic shift, basically, first off, stop and think. Everything around us, including ourselves, is made of energy. Everything in the universe is made of energy. So when there is an energy shift, there is a quantifiable physical change to the universe, and that shift can occur around you, like the environment or people, and it can occur inside of you. And most people don't notice those energy shifts, even though their thoughts, feelings, or experiences are impacted by them. So, however, if you're aware, you're journaling, you do reflection, meditation, that kind of thing, you're going to notice those shifts. And that's why those angel numbers are going to start popping up. And if you're more attuned to the energy shifts, it helps you to differentiate between your own emotions and feelings that are reactions to emotions in the collective consciousness that surrounds you. Like everyone else, you're part of the collective consciousness. We all are. We just got to remember to tap into it. Your life experiences impact this consciousness just as it impacts on your life experiences. So as your understanding of energy shifts increase, you'll find yourself easily identifying ripples in the collective stream. Often they're responses to tragedies or discoveries, but often people experience the responses before the event even takes place. So, 5 basic reasons, and I'll have the link to this article in the show notes. 5 reasons for vibrational change. The phase of the moon might change, impact you. So if you pay attention to the phases of the moon, or if you notice that maybe your sleep patterns change with the phases of the moon, or what might be happening, because the full moon often has a really big impact on your energy shift, or the new moon. And yeah, that's real. Anybody who's ever experienced customer service or the medical field or law enforcement, y'all know that the full moon really does impact the way people behave. They've done studies now where they paid somebody to do a scientific study that says, yep, people actually act differently in a full moon. I could have told you that, and you could have just given me that $3.5 million. I would have written it up even. Solar flares and eclipses. Yeah, those sometimes have the similar response to a full moon. Energy shifts may even be more pronounced during solar flares and eclipses. And collective consciousness shifts are more common during the times of the eclipse. So if you can plan your life around the big changes. So we generally know when eclipses are going to happen. Sometimes we get warnings about solar flares and being aware of solar storms, that kind of thing. Be aware. Life might be changing around you in short notice, and be prepared to roll with it just a bit. Or carry the extra stones with you for the protection. Tourmaline is good for you. Shungite is another good one for you.
Or just carry stones so you can throw at them.
Yeah, there is that too. But they say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Yeah, sure, if you throw it hard enough. But same thing with rocks. You've got rocks in your pocket. Sure, yep, they're going to protect you just because of the energetic. Worst case scenario, yeah, throw them at people. A Kundalini awakening can occur at the time of new spiritual realizations or personal revelations. And some people report this occurrence in conjunction with like a near-death experience or anything else that it prompts a reevaluation of values, goals, and purpose. So yeah, if you have had a near-death experience, that's a big deal. Or maybe an out-of-body experience, that's a big deal. Concussion, yeah, that's another one. Or an intense experience. Gravity sucks, so maybe you trip and fall. Literally, you might fall into a different reevaluation. Relationship changes, they're big too. They can trigger things also. So as you're making those new spiritual realizations, accept that it's okay, and this too will pass, and the normal will find itself, the balance will find itself. Personal elevations in consciousness. So you can facilitate a consciousness upgrade by way of any type of spiritual work, including the work that you do with the law of attraction. So as you become more attuned to the universe and more aware of your power to attract and repel specific things, you may feel resulting energy shifts that open you up to new possibilities. So it's one of those things. If you write down the thing that you want to get rid of and you burn it, yeah, that's physically doing something to manifest that change. And hey, guess what? It's our last break of the evening already. It's been a quick night. Holy cow. So we're going to go to our last break. And when we come back, we're going to pick up a little bit more from Law of Attraction and the energetic shifts. And then remember, the call lines are open if you do have a question, or drop it in the chat room. So, yeah, we'll be right back.
I, oh Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be. The sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me, the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're off adventuring into the spaces between. Tonight we're talking about energy, the energy shifts, vibrational changes, some of the things to pay attention to. You know, when in doubt, journal it. Seriously. Journaling's good for you anyways. Yes. Because sometimes, the best way to put down the baggage is to write about it and get it off your chest so you can move forward and not carry around other people's baggage, because you know what? That stuff gets heavy after a while. It really does. We were talking about 5 different reasons why you may be experiencing a change. And if you're on YouTube, you're going to notice that the change is that Don is not on. He's got to get up early in the morning, so he's off doing his other stuff. So, yeah. Yep. So, we're talking about the Kundalini awakening and then the personal evaluations, or elevations, I should say, in consciousness. So, yeah, if you have a spiritual breakthrough, or you experience a transition or change in your spiritual awareness, that's a pretty big deal. So I knew about Hecate for a long time. I really did. And it was about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, something like that. Gosh, I don't know. No, it's been over 2 years now. Holy cow. Almost 2.5 years since I realized that I was called by Kanunos. And it took a little bit for that one to click. I was talking through it with a friend of mine, a high priestess that was local here. And when it clicked, it was, oh, that's what that meant. And that's what that meant. And oh, that's what that was about. And it was just suddenly the I's were dotted, the T's were crossed, and it's like one of those, paint by number things, and all the colors are filled in. Just, it's like, oh, that's what oh. And it's like, why didn't I see that? Why did somebody have to point it out to me? Well, sometimes, we're so tied up in our own egos, and that's really what it is, in our own ego defenses, that we don't see the obvious, regardless of what it is. So don't beat yourself up about missing out on some of those things or missing the cues, because we all do it. We all miss things. It's okay. And that's part of the reason why having that fellowship where you can get together and connect with other people. Have a lovely day, Mary. And talk things over. And it's like, hey, I'm experiencing this. Are you experiencing that? Wow, this is crazy. And just being able to communicate with one another and share those ideas and the stuff, because sometimes we need it, because sometimes we need someone to point out the obvious. If you have significant changes in your own life, that's another one of those signs. Married, divorced, end a career, start a new career, move. Often an energy shift inevitably follows. Maybe a change in role. For instance, if you've always, been the child and suddenly, and your parents have always been strong for you, and suddenly maybe your parents are ill and you have to care for them instead of them caring for you. That's a big deal. That's a big change in energy. So when you experience that, one, you're going to have the grief, the loss of the relationship, or the expectation of the relationship and the way it was. And that's normal. It's okay. So as that role changes, be aware. That's an energy shift. I know it's crazy. But if you clean your house, rearrange your furniture, you're changing the energy in your home. Anybody who's ever dabbled with feng shui knows that when you rearrange your furniture or your decor or anything like that, you're freshening things up, you're freshening the energy, and you're giving it just a boost. Generally. Not always, but generally. Let's see. You may notice that time is different as you're going through this transitory time. And it doesn't necessarily mean time travel or anything like that. it's your perception of time changes. Just as it seems like days are speeding up the older you get, the lazy days of summer that seem to last forever when you're a kid, suddenly they're, as an adult, it's just like quick. They're just bang, they're gone. Well, it's because, one, you've had more days and so they don't last as long. But it's your perception of time too. And so as your perception changes, you may feel like the days are shorter or longer, or maybe you lose time. Maybe you didn't realize, you sat down and started doing something, and next thing you know, it's 5 hours later, and you're like, where did that time go? I was just doing the thing, and it should have only taken me 30 minutes. Why am I still doing this 5 hours later? Oh my gosh, what's going on? That happens. And, just note it. That's one of those things to journal about. What were you getting ready to do? Where was your mind? What were you thinking about? Because sometimes that lack of awareness means we were getting information in another way, and it's just sitting there in our subconscious for us to tap into. With the energy shifts, you may encounter visions or see, not just seeing things, not just the ghosts, but visions. I have a feeling the Bigfoot phenomena is going to increase in the coming months, coming years. Personally, I think Bigfoot is a transdimensional species anyways, so that's just me. But as you're going through, you're going to see things. Maybe your dreams are going to be more prophetic. Maybe you're going to experience the deja vu a little bit differently. But those visions often have a pretty big significance to your own life or the things that you're experiencing and your expectations and such. So make note of it. Definitely, if you're having a vision or something like that, you should take note of it and put it in your journal. You really, really, truly should. So let's see. I had another article. Yeah, that's not really... I was going to talk about it, but I'm not going to, because it just, Mostly, as we're going through this energetic change in the transitory period, you're not crazy. It's a real thing. Is everybody experiencing it the same? No. You're really not. Just like two people. So you have three people. Make it even more complicated. 3 people sitting around having a cup of coffee. Those 3 people are going to have a different relationship with one another. It's not going to be exactly the same because they're 3 different people, 3 different interactions. Same thing with an energy change. 3 different ways that it's going to happen. And that's normal. So you're going to go through something and it's not going to be just like everybody else around you. Now, sometimes if you have family members going through a transition same time as you are, you will have some similarities. You really will. So if you're seeing more ghosts or spirits, odds are good that other family members are going to be experiencing ghosts or spirits as well. Maybe not quite the same way, but definitely experiencing them too. And if you're worried, make sure you're protecting yourself the best you can. Look into which stones are going to protect you the most. Tourmaline, again, as a big one. I talk about it a lot. Do the cleansing. Quartz is the booster. So if you are going to be in a high stress situation, have the tourmaline with you and add some just good old fashioned white quartz. It'll be good for you. Moon water. If you do create moon water, sometimes anointing yourself every morning before you leave the house. You just set your intentions like, this moon water or this blessed water, because that's basically what it is going to help protect you from the negative energy out in the world, and anoint yourself with it. Dot your third eye, put it in your hair, your crown chakra, rub it into your tummy for your solar plexus, whatever it is that you think you need to help protect you. Yeah, you can anoint yourself. That's absolutely fine. If you did oil instead of water, same kind of thing. Fractionated coconut oil does soak up energy just like water does. And sometimes that's what you need. Really, truly. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. You're drinking plenty of water. You're eating mostly healthy foods. I'm not going to tell you to go on a diet and eat all the healthy food you can and skip all the bad stuff, because you know what? There's no reason to stop enjoying food just because you're trying to take better care of yourself. Experiment with your recipes and cooking, and I love cooking for that reason. It's like, hey, I like the flavor of this, so this is what I'm going to do. I did chicken pot pie the other day. It was yummy. I didn't want to do the full crust with the chicken pot pie because I'm a lazy bum. I admit it. So I just wanted kind of a crust on top. And it turned out kind of like a soft soda cracker. It was perfect. Oh my goodness. That's probably what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow, actually. So, don't be afraid to experiment as you're going through the transition to find out what's going to help you the best and give you the most ease. I keep a certain number of stones in my pocket just because they help me. That's like my touchstone. Serpentine is good for healing in general. So I keep that with me all the time. The tourmaline, rose quartz, carry that with me. Do you know why? Because rose quartz isn't just love of others, it's love of self. And sometimes I am a really big critic of myself. And that's normal. We're often our own worst critics. And because of that, I want to make sure that I'm protecting myself as much as possible. And giving myself as much of a boost as I can. So yeah, I keep that in my pocket too. Selenite, hematite, all this stuff. And if you are trying to decide what stones to wear or put in your pocket, and the ones that you normally have, suddenly it's like, that just doesn't work for me today. I'm not going to carry those with me. Listen to your intuition. Listen to that inner voice that says, hey, this isn't what I need right now. I need to do something else entirely. Again, normal. And if you're going to carry around your stones, make sure you're doing that cleanse every so often. Either give them a quick rinse in water, moon water, regular water, out of the faucet, especially if it's well water, or sunlight, or moonlight, or new moon light, or full moonlight, not just moonlight. Rainwater. Oh, rainwater is a very good cleanser. So just, what is it you need to do to make sure your stones are cleansed of the stuff that they might pick up and are protecting you from? And if you notice your immune system being compromised just a little bit, maybe it's time to give your stones a quick cleanse. Maybe you forgot. And if you give them a quick cleanse, they'll help support you a little bit more. There's so many things to do to help protect yourself that even if it's only one or two of those things that you're doing, every little bit helps. Just like, remembering to tie your shoes. Sometimes you have to stop and do the thing to protect yourself and take better care of yourself. Titan asks, Paisley, do y'all sometimes have to cleanse the stones y'all receive at the store? So, sometimes. Not consistently and not always. Often they do get a bit of a cleanse because just in the process of handling them, they get cleansed, depending on what we're doing with them and where we're putting them, that kind of thing. Often I tell people to just make sure they give them a good cleanse before they use them themselves because, for instance, we have a shelf or a display with earrings on it. And people love to touch the earrings. Oh, look at these earrings. Oh, these are pretty. Oh, look, there's turquoise in these and amethyst in those, or labradorite and these ones over here, and I love the shape of those. And people like to touch things. And you can tell people have touched things because your oils in your skin react with the silver and tarnish them slightly. So I have to go through and polish the jewelry every so often. And and a certain number of people touch things, you're going to want to clean it. I mean, just like buying produce at the grocery store. Sure, that tomato looks clean, but you don't know who just sneezed all over it. So, yeah, I would take it home and wash it before I ate it. Or the bag of cherries. So often you see people get a bag of cherries or grapes or something, and as they're getting in the car, they grab a handful of something and they're eating. It's like, oh gosh, do you know how many germs you just put in your body? Blah. That drives me nuts. The germaphobe in me just kind of jumps out and wants to scream and shout and, yeah, go crazy because, yeah. Just very similar to your produce. Make sure you're cleaning it before you get really, really using it. And that's just because the ambient energy of people coming into the store can attach to itself to the stones. And generally in our store, the energy is good. It is just a fantastic building. The light's great. The plants are awesome. The stones are fantabulous. And the customers are super duper cool. Every so often, we have that one Karen or Sharon or whatever you want to call her come in that is just like, wow, you got up on the wrong side of the bed, didn't you? Maybe you need to go down to the street and get the coffee and then come back and let's try this again. Generally, we don't have that kind of negative energy. It does happen once in a while. It does definitely impact us because it's like, wow, that's not what we normally have to deal with. And that was irritating and vexing and exhausting. And it happens, unfortunately. It happens in any retail setting, unfortunately, because people just forget their common sense, it seems like, when when they go into a retail setting. So, yeah, I would cleanse the stones. The singing bowl, I did a quick cleanse on that when I brought it home. My selenite wand. Selenite is naturally cleansing. I did not cleanse that one. But any of the jewelry I wear, I give it a quick cleanse just because, I don't know who's handled it before me, just on a customer basis. Same with some of the other pieces that I have. I'm working on the deconstructed, or I should say reconstructed pendulums. Basically, I'm deconstructing a bunch of stuff and reconstructing it into pendulums. And as I'm doing it, it's going over a selenite bar, mostly because I don't know what interaction that jewelry had or that stuff had before it came into my possession. And sometimes people get a gift and they hated the person, or there's high energy surrounding the jewelry or the person wearing it. Some people have very, very strong dominant personalities, and you can feel that personality in the jewelry that you're purchasing, or the things that you're purchasing. And just like if you go to a garage sale and you buy a bunch of t-shirts, are you going to just put on the t-shirt, or are you going to go home and wash it first? Oh, that's a pretty good. You're going to go home and wash them. Same thing with the jewelry. Go home and wash it. Or, the lamp or the tool or whatever it is that you have gotten, take it home and give it a quick cleanse. And often those cleanses don't have to be highly invasive. They can be quick and to the point. Because, you don't know what cooties are on there. So, you really, really don't know what cooties are on there. And, just like when I'm crafting things or making things, especially for sale, I try to keep my mindset at least neutral if possible, or like dream catchers. I generally think in the direction of protective energy for dream catchers. My headdresses, to me, those are just fun. I've got a rune set that I've been working on for divination that I'll probably be including with the reconstructed pendulums when they go on sale, mostly because that's the intention. I want the divination and the path to enlightenment, if you will, for those particular tools. So whatever it is you're doing, especially if you're crafting your own tools, make sure you're setting your intention correctly as you're getting ready to craft, because you don't want to ask the sun god for rain, because that's counterintuitive. It's like adding vinegar to brownies thinking they're going to rise and taste awesome. That's not the way it works. So make sure you're adding the right ingredients for the right thing. And yeah, Titan and Lucky are chatting, and Titan says, receive some great advice to cleanse anything you buy at a garage sale or anything formerly owned due to attachments. Lucky agrees. Cleanse everything you get. That's part of the reason why I said, yeah, just like clothes, wash it. Titan agreed. And Lucky says, not just for one's own protection, but because there may be a piece of the previous owner left on it who didn't remember to recollect themselves. This would release the item from that person. And then that piece of that person would regain that missing piece of self. Excuse me. Yeah. Everybody has heard of Harry Potter movies, and there's the bad guy, and the he who must not be named, Voldemort, split his soul into a couple different Horcruxes and everything, and that was with intention. That's what he granted as a mythology, and that's what he wanted to do. But sometimes that happens by accident. High energy, high emotion. Sometimes, I'm going to give this necklace to a loved one, and it's going to symbolize protection and how much I love them and how much I care about them, and I'm always going to be there for them. I'm always going to take care of them. You have to be careful, because if you put too much of yourself into that necklace, or that thing, there's a little bit of you attached to it. And not just in a emotional attachment sort of way, but as in a spiritual sort of a way. So be careful of what you're doing. And if you buy something secondhand, especially, or even firsthand from the store, because you don't know the origins necessarily, make sure you're doing just a quick cleanse, because it's important. And so, as we're winding down, can't believe how quick tonight went. Holy cow. Yay. Like he says, consider engagement rings. Look at the psychic links with them. Yeah. Especially if it's a family heirloom type of engagement ring. How many fingers has that ring been on, and what kind of energy has been attached to it? Yeah. Because, yeah. Yeah. So, energy shifts. They happen all the time. They really do. Age of Aquarius, in theory, started with the alignment just before Christmas with the stars and everything. So with that being said, there's going to be an energetic vibrational change, this year. You can see it in our politics. You can see it in the U.S. news and all that stuff. Those of us here in the U.S., we're seeing things we've never seen before, because, oh my gosh, it's like everybody went bat poop crazy again. So deep cleansing breath. Hold on to your butts. I think 2021 is going to be an adventure. I mentioned that already. I'm going to say it again. It's an adventure. Be prepared. Plant the garden. Save the food. Buy the stones. Yeah. With the energetic change, be ready. Be prepared. Don't be afraid of it. It's just part of our growth as a people. And that we'll be stronger for it, and it might be challenging, but we will be stronger for it. We'll be better for it. And when we come out on the other side, man, will we have a story to tell. So, on that note, you guys, thanks for joining. I can't believe it's been almost 2 years already. What a fun time it's been. Crazy. I started off with 1 hour once a week. I couldn't believe I was going to be able to fill that up. And here I am 2 hours twice a week. And it's like, wow, sometimes I just have more to say. So, anyways, y'all, thank you for joining this weekend. If you have questions, send me an email, wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. You want to support my radio habit, do the hashtag. That's $TheSpacesBetween. Other than that, we'll see you next Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Have a good one.
I, O Lord, within the sun, as we will, so mote it be, the spell forever does.